them actually sort of know, who I am and what I sort of do. So I'm doing this course, a Bachelor of Vocational Education, so it's more to do with adult learners than it is with sort of students in school groups. And one of the subjects is just on on training, planning and assessing, and they want me to do some placement with students, with adult learners. So I guess that's sort of part of the reason why I'm here today. One of the values for you though, I guess, is that I've probably got a bit of a slightly different background to Sean and John, and I guess I have worked in the industry for a long time. So if any of you've got any sort of questions about sort of what happens in the industry, or feel free to come forward and talk to me sort of about that. But so far I've been really impressed with people's terminology in terms of what you know about ropes courses, and the way that you did that landscape check there. That last sort of session was really good. So what I'm going to sort of talk about today is how do we supervise a ropes course. So you've probably got a little bit of prior knowledge already in regards to how Sean and John have done it in the last couple of days. But up on the board here, I've sort of just put up a couple of key points that I think is kind of important. And what I thought we'd do is in a moment we want to sort of split into those sort of groups that we're in before. So how we were sort of setting up a particular part of the course. I'd then like us to go across and actually have a climb on the course. And while we're doing that sort of climbing, I'd like you to sort of have a think about how you'd actually supervise the course in regards to maybe those 4 points that I've put up there. So just sort of to gauge your knowledge, can anyone sort of talk me through sort of some of the considerations around those points? So if we would look at key danger points, what do you think some of the suggestions might be there? Some of the topics or or key points.
The belaying?
Yep. Okay. Good.
People mucking around.
Yep. Great.
Are they actually harnessed in properly? Like the
Yeah,
carabiners
absolutely.
are all done up properly and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, so there's kind of a really good couple of discussion areas. So what I want us to do is I'm conscious that it's really important that you guys actually get out there and go climbing, and sort of and the more that you do, often the better that you sort of learn. While you're there doing it, just have a real good think about what are those key danger points around belaying, and when we come back to the group, we'll then have a bit of a discussion that I'll get you guys to sort of write some key points on the board, and hopefully at the end of this hour session, we'll have a go at sort of climbing. We'll have a good discussion in your own groups about some of those things, and then we'll come back to the larger group and write up on the board all the different points that we need to talk about. Is everyone okay with that? So when we talk about sort of client-staff ratio, what are some of the considerations that we think about there?
1 to 9.
Yeah, yep, so it could be 1 to 9. Where'd you that
Instructor.
from?
That's from our handbook manual.
Yep, okay. Think about also, what are maybe some special client groups that you might have, and what are some of their differing needs. Also think about actual courses, layout of courses, and how can you supervise that. What about instructor-teacher role? What's some of the differences there?
You can use the teacher.
Yeah,
Like to
yep.
help
How
you
you
out and
empower them to do a role. Yep.
Where you might put them on the course, like you were saying that here you'd usually put a teacher because it's a bit higher and you want more supervision in that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's some really great ideas there. How you use them, the layout and geography of the course. So there's a fair bit around that as well. And I guess this last one is sort of environmental considerations. So what's some of the things that you could sort of think about there?
You're not throwing litter or anything. So you're taking out what you bring in.
Yeah, yep. So minimal impact stuff.
You wouldn't want to have like kids near trees and stuff without being supervised, because they'd be sitting there and grazing the trees and pulling branches off and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Any other ones? Think about sort of what weather is is good conditions to be on the course. What sort of adverse conditions? What are some reasons, weather conditions that you might actually want to sort of stop or cease operations? So look, we've started a good little discussion there. So what I want us to do now is in those same setup groups that we were in. So that was groups of sort of 3 or 4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does everyone know what group they're in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you guys to sort of work on maybe just one of those sort of points, and really try try to sort of, you know, expand them as much as you can. When you go across to the course, I want you to then sort of, you know, in scenario, go through all the things that you need to go to, think about those considerations. I'd like each person then to have a go at being top rope sort of climbing up onto the course. I then want you to traverse from one belay system into another belay system. So that'll be using your twin lanyards. I'd like you to then traverse sort of, you know, halfway out onto a particular element before you traverse back to the top rope belay and then descend back down the course. Okay, so is everyone fairly clear on what I want everyone to have a go of doing? And while you're doing that, I'd like you to be having those conversations around some of those supervision codes. Okay, what we'll be doing is just sort of supervising that, but if you can work fairly independently in your groups, in about then 15 minutes, we'll sort of 15-20 minutes, we'll come back here and we'll expand and develop those ideas a bit, and we'll sort of try to write down some key points for the end of the session. Y'all got any questions about that? No? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
you said that you want each group to focus on a different one. Should we
Yeah,
just
okay.
say who's going to do what so people aren't doing the same thing?
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
What would you like to do?
We will do environmental consideration.
We
Okay.
do instructor-teacher roles.
Thanks, Wyman.
Okay.
Key danger points.
Client stuff. Anyone see any other really important things that I haven't maybe listed there on the board? Have a think about that too. You know, there's probably, you know, it's quite a broad sort of subject, so we've got you know, a bit of a template there to work off, but I'm sure our discussion will also you know, expand sort of further out from that. Okay. Okay, so when you're ready, gather your equipment and resources that you need, get into your teams, and off we go.
Do we want one or two?